Hey everyone, it's Gwen, and as you can tell from the title, today I'm going to be doing one of my first year-in-review type videos for 2016. I didn't do this type of video last year, but I decided this year because I have found so much new music and so many new bands and artists, I decided to make a video about all of those bands and artists I discovered this year in 2016. On my Spotify, I have a playlist called Gwen's Songs, which if you look at the description for that playlist, it's basically a description of how my music taste has evolved from 2013 all the way through to the present. The list of songs in that playlist goes in chronological order of when I've added them. So what I did is I went through that playlist and I looked throughout only this year and saw what big bands I added and which ones that I found and discovered and really enjoyed. And today I'm going to let you guys know what bands and artists those are. So let's get started. The first 4 bands I'm going to talk about I all discovered because of one show. I'm sure you can guess it. I made a whole video about it, but it's the AP tour that I went to in March. While getting ready for that show, I listened to the 4 bands that went, and I am now obsessed with all 4 of those bands. In January, I discovered 3 out of 4 of them: Knuckle Puck, Neck Deep, and State Champs. These 3 bands are so special to me now. I love them all so much. Knuckle Puck is my second favorite band. I love them so much. I just love their music. I think their lyrics just have always spoken to me. And if you go back and watch the video about that show, you'll hear me talking about how Knuckle Puck is very special to me. And at that time, I didn't exactly know why, but their music just has always spoken to me. And I love the lyrics of their songs. And they're just a very special band to me, and now they have become my second favorite band over the course of a year. State Champs I listened to, and oh my gosh, they're amazing. They are very classic pop punk. A really cool thing is that they are from my town, which is so neat, and they've just gone so far in the past year, and I'm very proud of them, especially because I'm not in a big town that you hear a lot of bands come from, and it's really cool to hear some representation from State Champs, and I'm just so proud that they've done so well in the past year, and I love their music. I've been obsessed with their most recent album for the past year, but honestly all of their music is so great, and they're one of those bands where if you listen to their earlier stuff and go through it all the way till now, you can really just hear the progression of how they've become to work together better, and just the progression of their talents as a band and how it's just gotten so much better, and they're a great live band, and they're definitely one of my favorites. The other one, Neck Deep, I discovered also in January, and wow, these guys are incredible. I love the sound of this band. I'm a huge fan of them, and I just love their sound. They're on the more, I guess, like the edgier side of pop punk, you know, there's some more screaming in there, it's pretty hard, and they swear a lot in their songs, but I just love the beats of their songs and the music, and it's just very powerful. Their most recent album blew up, got them a lot of success. It's fantastic. I'm so lucky that I got to see them on tour for that album in March, and they are just incredible, and I'm so happy that I found them. And then, like I said, the 4th band that I also saw on the AP tour I listened to in February because they were the smallest band on that tour, and that is Like Pacific, and they have become probably my favorite baby band, which is kind of what I call bands that are really small. I mean, they've gotten really big within the past year, but starting in March, they only had like 5,000 followers on Spotify or listeners, and yeah, they really weren't that popular. And now in the fall, they just went on their first ever headlining tour for their most recent album, Distant Like You Asked, and I could not be more proud of these guys. When I saw them in March, they had only released 1 EP with I think 5 songs. It was a terrific EP though, and I was obsessed with all 5 of those songs. Literally at the show, I was the only one that was singing along. I knew all the words, and I just think they've come so far within the past year. I'm so proud of them. They're still very small and pretty underrated, but they're probably my favorite underrated band, and they're just fantastic, and their most recent album is so great. It's such a step up from their EP. Their first EP has a lot of screaming in it. Their most recent album doesn't have as much, but it's really good. It's more just like raw pop punk, and they're fantastic, and I love them so much, and I'm so proud of how far they've come in the past year. The next band I discovered in March, and that is the 1975. Now these guys are a band that I have heard of before. It's kind of hard not to have at least heard of them, but I never heard any of their music until March. And I don't really know what my motivation to start listening to them was. I think I kind of heard some more stuff about them. I think the reason why I started listening to them in March is because in February, that was when they released their most recent album, and so I was hearing a lot about them. And I honestly remember just going to their Spotify page and just listening to their most recent song. I think Girls was the first song I heard, then Chocolate, and I kind of went through this time where I listened to them a little bit, and then I don't know, when I first started listening to them, I didn't think they were all that great. I probably didn't think that they were my like style of music. I thought they were too soft, I think, or just, I don't know, they had like an 80s vibe, and I don't know if I was really into that at the time, and I kind of took a break from listening to them altogether. But then, a little later on, during the summer, when I listened to their most recent album, I completely fell in love with that album. As you guys know, I just listened to that so much the past month in November, and I'm obsessed with them now. Not only am I obsessed with their most recent album, but that self-titled album, the first one, I love it so much. I love all of their music. I've fallen in love with the soft 80s vibe and the way that they use electronics, and I'm so happy that I actually started listening to them. Theoretically, I didn't really discover them, I knew who they were, but I really just actually started listening to their music, and now I've become a huge fan. And I'm very, very happy that I did. They're definitely one of those unique bands that has a very unique sound, and they're pretty popular, and I love them so much. April was the month when I made my chill playlist. So I discovered a lot of new bands in April, one of those being first Ballhoo, who I had heard of from a YouTuber definitely before April, and I think I had only heard literally like one song. I had heard Walk Away, and that was the only song I listened to, and for some reason I didn't continue listening to them after that. I don't know, and I didn't dislike that song, but in April I kind of came back to them when I was making my chill playlist, and I mean, their music isn't that chill. My favorite album, Daydreams, isn't exactly chill, but I think what I did is I put their Cool Down album in the chill playlist, and then I just started listening to more from them, and I love them. I love their sound. They have a very beachy, kind of pop punk, like, I don't know, more like, I don't know what you call it, like beach music. I don't know, there's a correct term, but it's not coming to my mind. I don't know what the word is, it's not coming to my mind, but like beach rock or something, there's a word, and I don't know. But they have a very beach pop punk vibe, and I love them. I think they are great. I think they're one of those bands that kind of anyone could get into, so I definitely recommend you guys check them out. I got obsessed with their album Daydreams. It's my favorite album. Pineapple Grenade is also really good, and then I added, like I said, their Cool Down album into my chilled playlist. Also in April, I discovered one of my favorite bands of this year. This is probably the band that I am most excited about discovering because I literally had no clue who they were. I hadn't even heard of them until April, and that is Turnover, who I've definitely talked about before on this channel, and wow, they are incredible. I heard about them from a YouTuber, and before April, I think like maybe February or something, and I think I listened to a few of their songs, and once again, on first listen, I was like, I don't really know if this is for me. This is really, kind of seems sort of boring. I listened to Peripheral Vision because that was the album that was recommended to me by this YouTuber, and I thought this is kind of boring and, I don't know, not as great as she made it sound. And then a few months later, I remembered that when I was making my chill playlist, remembered how boring it was, though it wasn't boring, I just thought it was, and I added it to my chill playlist, began to listen to it more and more, and fell in love with that album. It is a terrific album. It is just one of my favorites of all time. I think it's, I don't know, my 6th or 7th all-time favorite album. It is incredible. They are a great band overall. As a lot of people know, Turnover used to be more pop punk, and now they're more ambient, chill rock type band, and they are great. Like I said, Peripheral Vision, fantastic album. They have a few EPs as well, like Blue Dream and Humblest Pleasures, I think is what it's called. Something like that. But it's so great, and their new music, that new chill vibe, is fantastic. Also, their old pop punk stuff is pretty great as well. They're just overall a great band, one of the bands that I really want to see live because I feel like their shows would just be so relaxing and chill and fun, and I love their music. I'm obsessed with it, and they are definitely the band that I am most excited that I discovered this year. Also in April, you know, my big video, my Weezer video, yes, because that was the first ever album that I listened to by Weezer, was when I reacted to the White Album, and as most of you guys know, I fell in love with that album, and I really, really love Weezer now because of that album. Yes, I just listened to that album so much after I made that reaction video, and is one of my favorites of this year, definitely. I also, listened to Pinkerton. As a lot of you guys know, I reacted to that as well. I listened to the Blue album, the Red album, the Green album. I listened to everything by Weezer because I just love their music so much. It's just so much fun, and when I saw them live, it was fantastic as well. And I'm very excited because I probably wouldn't have even reacted to that video if they didn't go on tour with Panic, which means I wouldn't have discovered them. So I'm very, very happy. They're another one of those bands that I had heard of, but I had never listened to. I didn't even know they were still around, honestly. But I'm very happy that I started listening to them because I love them. Also in April, another artist that I started listening to because of my chill playlist is Troye Sivan. And I knew who he was. I was a huge fan of his YouTube. I didn't really know he did music until April, and I saw it, and I think the only song I knew was Happy Little Pill. And then when he released Blue Neighborhood, I listened to a few songs from it, and I was like, wow, this is so chill. I'm gonna put the whole thing on my chill playlist, which I did. I fell in love with it. I listened to it so much, and such a fantastic album. I mean, the use of electronics, his beautiful voice, it's so chill, but it's not boring at all, and there's all these little aspects of the songs, and it is a fantastic album, and I love Troye Sivan. I cannot wait for him to release eventually new music, because I literally listened to Blue Neighborhood a ton, and I'm kind of just ready for new stuff. I don't know when he's going to be doing that. I know that he's on the Suburbia tour right now, but I just love him so much, and I just cannot wait till he releases new music. In June, I became officially obsessed with the Arctic Monkeys because once again, they were also put on my chill playlist. I listened to AM in December of last year, but another one of those albums that I thought, not for me, it's too chill, it's weird, I don't know. I'm really weird when I listen to things for the first time. Apparently I just disliked a lot of this stuff the first time I heard it. And then when I went back to it and put it on my chill playlist, I listened to it a lot, fell in love with it, and now I'm a huge Arctic Monkeys fan. I love all their stuff. AM, I mean, that album is just incredible. I also really like Favorite Worst Nightmare is really great. All of their albums are fantastic. And AM, I mean, that was the album that got me really into them, and just a great album, and I'm a huge fan of them. I'd love to see them live as well, and they're just great. And that's another band that I'm so happy that I discovered, so incredibly happy, because they're just, I'm a huge fan of them now, and I love them. Here's a band that if you guys watch my current favorite albums of July video, you would remember. Yes, it's the British peeps, the Pigeon Detectives. A friend recommended them to me in July, and that whole entire month I was obsessed with these guys. That album, We Met at Sea, which is their most recent album, I became obsessed with. It's my favorite album by them still. I have listened to their other stuff as well, and I just love them so much. They're also another one of those really underrated bands, at least in the US. I'm sure, where they're from, they're a lot more popular, hopefully at least, because they deserve a lot more fans. They are so great. Everybody please go check out the Pigeon Detectives. I don't know, they're on tour, but I don't know if they're making any more music since their last album did come out in 2013, so it's been a while. But they are a great band, one of my favorites now. I love their sound. They're just so much fun to jam out to. They're great for just that good, happy, feel-good music, great for the summer, and it's just a fantastic band overall. In August, the same friend who introduced me to the Pigeon Detectives, we both really got into Mayday Parade, and this is a band that I have known of for a very long time. I mean, these guys have been around since, I think, 2005? They're as old as Panic. They are a very old band. As a lot of you guys know, this coming year, in 2017, they're going on a 10th anniversary of A Lesson in Romantics tour, and by the way, I'm going to that. Gonna be seeing Mayday Parade and Knuckle Puck. Yes, yes, blessed. Anyways, very excited about that. But this is a band that, because they're so old, I have a lot of respect for them, and the album that I got obsessed with my friend was their self-titled album, which is one of their older ones. And that's a fantastic album. That's kind of the only one that I know really well as of now, but I really love them. I think they have a very great, just pop-punk feel. They remind me a bit of All Time Low, but also kind of a little bit of State Champs, just with less, Derek from State Champs kind of has this raspiness in his voice, and that's not really how Mayday Parade sounds, but I feel like they're kind of a mix of those two. They're just great classic pop-punk that I feel like anybody would like, and I'm so stoked that I get to see them live. I cannot wait. And I really love their music. They have a great sound as well. In October/November, because I mentioned them, in November, I got really obsessed with Moose Blood and their latest album, Blush. That's pretty much the only album that I really know by them. I have listened to their other stuff, but just not like as much as Blush, because I've just been totally obsessed with Blush. Moose Blood, they kind of skyrocketed this year because of that album, Blush, and it took me a while to listen to that for some reason. Like, I had heard of it, and I don't know, I didn't take the initiative to listen to it for a long time, and I kind of regret that. But I did it in October, and October and November I was obsessed with that album. I still am. I love that album. It's so fantastic. And I love Moose Blood. I really would like to see them live as well. I think they'd be great live. And they're kind of another, I feel like they could go under like classic pop punk, but maybe more like the emo style of pop punk, because the lead singer has a very unique sounding voice that I fall in love with. I think that that's one of the reasons I like them so much, is they're very unique. They don't really sound like any other pop punk band I listen to, which I really enjoy. And their most recent album, Blush, like if you guys have not listened to this album, listen to it. It has a beautiful aesthetic, it is fantastic listen, and you guys will not regret it. And the final band that I just recently saw and got obsessed with this year is Beartooth. Now, I've been listening to Beartooth since last October. I literally only listened to one song, and that was In Between. That was the only Beartooth song I had on, in my music library for the longest time, literally for a year. That was the only Beartooth song that I liked. And it's my favorite Beartooth song because it's a fantastic song. And then when I found out that they were coming here on the Aggressive tour, as you guys know, I went. I did a concert vlog on it. Go watch it, it's pretty good. And because I knew they were coming here, I was like, you know what, I really want to get into Beartooth more. And when I originally just listened to In Between and I loved it, I was like, oh, I should get into more of their stuff. And I tried to get into some of their other stuff, and it was just too heavy for me, like a year ago. I don't know, I couldn't get into it. There was a lot of screaming, and I did not like that a year ago. Now I really like it, of course. But I couldn't get into the other screaming of the other songs. I just couldn't get into them. And then this year I was like, they're coming here, I really want to see them solely because I want to see In Between live. But I was like, you know what, I really like Day to Remember. Now I've gotten a lot more into Day to Remember as well. They're pretty screamy, like Pacific is screaming, and I'm kind of just more used to, and I really like more screaming now. So I thought maybe I like Beartooth, and I gave it a whirl in October, right before the show, and I was obsessed. I'm so obsessed with Beartooth now. I think they have a fantastic sound. They're a post-hardcore band. They're not really pop punk. They're like a post-hardcore metal band, kind of similar to A Day to Remember, but a bit heavier, and I love them. I'm so happy that I got to meet them, which was so fantastic. Please guys, go check out the vlog where I met them. It was a terrific time. They're the first band that I've met the entire band, and they were all so sweet. I got to talk to Caleb and tell him how much his music meant to me, and that I had just fallen in love with it that month, and it was just fantastic seeing them live. Oh, they are a fantastic live band. I want to see them live again so bad because they are a fantastic live band. They put on such a fun show. It's really like it's like a real metal show, and it was just a blast. And now I'm a huge fan of Beartooth. I love them so much, and they're like probably that other band that I'm so thankful that I listened to again and kind of fell in love with this year, because they're one of my favorites. Well guys, those are all of the bands and artists that I discovered this year, and I am so thankful that I did, because literally all of these bands and artists are now some of my favorites, and I feel like I've just added all of this terrific music, into my life and, on my playlist, and it's a great feeling when you discover, a new artist, a new band, and you fall in love with them. And I don't know, I'm just kind of like addicted to that, which is why I'm always trying to find new music. If you guys, have any other artists or bands, I know you guys do this regularly, but always leave your suggestions of music you think I will like down below. I will definitely listen to it. And I need to remember this, that if I don't like it on the first listen, I need to be going back and listening to it more, because a lot of these, I did not like them on the first listen, and look what happened. They're some of my favorites now. So yeah, pretty crazy how that works. But I'm so thankful for this year and all the new music that I just fell in love with, and it was a great time. I love music, guys, Anyways, I'm sure this video is very long at this point, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!